bikers prepared this morning to set off from the north coast town of Nador, the link with Spain into Africa. Morocco is still largely populated by the descendants of the Berber inhabitants who settled the area thousands of years ago and at one time controlled all the land between Morocco and Egypt. It's a diverse country scenery-wise, with 4 distinct mountain ranges interspersed by plateaus and plains, with around 28 million people living in Morocco. Well, there wasn't a great deal of time for Stefan Peter-Hansel to look at the scenery as he set off on the route today, and indeed Stefan Peter-Hansel set the fastest time, although he was only second fastest at the penultimate checkpoint. A final burst of speed saw him take the stage win by 1 minute and 5 seconds, and thus take the overall lead by over 2 minutes. Richard Sankt, number 5, 12 seconds behind Tiernan over the 150-mile stage. Richard Sankt was actually third fastest today and moved up to second position overall, the man who won the Atlas Rally in 1997. So second fastest today was this man, Kari Tiernan on the KTM, fastest up to the third checkpoint, but pipped by the Yamaha rider Peter-Hansel at the end. The 6 times World Enduro champion getting used to Dakar riding conditions for the first time, and he's moved up to a very impressive third place overall. Number 19, Juan Roma, 6th today, the 25-year-old Spaniard who'd gone well in Spain, suitably enough, but he was nearly 7 minutes slower than Stefan Peter-Hansel, and that dropped him down to 4th place overall. Roma, winner of the 1995 Baja Aragon, and anxious to get a good performance in on this year's Dakar. And Frenchman, another KTM rider, so many of them below Peter-Hansel in the ranking now. Alain Perez, he was 5th today, and he rides in 5th place in the overall standings. But today was a real chance for all the competitors to get into some good, long, twisty African terrain. Giovanni Sala was also running competitively once again today. The other enduro rider who's gone so well on the event so far, set the 11th fastest time, perhaps more impressive on the shorter European stages, but the 3 times enduro world champion in the 250 class on his first Dakar, 34-year-old Italian, just perhaps finding his feet in Morocco. There's some good performances today as well from the likes of Andy Hayden of Australia. The man from Adelaide, winner of the 1997 Australian Safari, which earned him this ride on a works KTM on the Dakar. Andy Hayden was 7th fastest today and moves up into 8th place overall. A very impressive performance from the Australian. Jordi Arcaron's also going reasonably well today. He was 8th fastest. He's moved up to 9th overall. The 35-year-old Spaniard who's switched from motocross to enduro riding to become 4 times the Spanish champion and winner of the Atlas and Master Rallies, still to win this classic Dakar event. Well, he's a little bit off the pace at the moment, but don't count Jordi Arcaron's out yet. He will gradually move up the order, I'm sure, as we go through the next few days. And another one of the top riders to watch out for, Fabrizio Mioni. 9th place on the stage today, and he's now in 10th place overall. also riding on the KTM. And in fact, the top 11 places, except for the all-important #1 position, are filled by KTMs. The first BMW is that of Eddie Orioli here, the #2 rider, the Italian, former 4-time winner of the event, but down in 11th place overall. Having said that, his gap between himself and Peter Hansel is just under 14 minutes, and that's a gap that can easily be made up on the longer stages still to come. There were some other impressive performances today, notably for the South African rider, the 8 times winner of the Roof of Africa rally, Alfie Cox, who was 4th fastest today. Very impressive indeed, and he's obviously going to be one to watch, also on a KTM. As for the British riders, John Deacon lies in 14th place. He's still going well. Simon Pavey, 79th. Nicholas Craigie of the Irish team is 104th. Adrian Lappin, 121st. Vinnie Fitzsimon is 124th. And Richard Fair is 136th. There are still some results to come in at the end of the day. It was very tricky today. The main difficulty was to avoid falling. I fell again, like yesterday, but thankfully without problems, just like yesterday again, except for a few marks on the bike. But really no problem. I lost perhaps 1 or 2 minutes, not so much, and most important, I didn't hurt myself. Well, I've already been talking about how the top 10 places, apart from that Yamaha of Peter Hansel, are filled by KTMs, and KTM have got their strongest team ever, including 10 works riders this year, split into 2 teams. The factory team has 2 trucks supporting them, and of course, Heinz Kinnigadner in charge of the whole operation.
I like to have a big team because, like last year, after 5 days, all our team was almost finished because of having crashes and technical problems. So this year we have the double number of riders.
Heinz Kinnigadner, a great rider himself, although never having won the Dakar. Last year here he crashed out and unfortunately was unable to continue. And a very nasty crash on the Australian Safari the year before last has seen him have to avoid riding for a while, but still a very important man in control of the KTM outfit. So the results of today's stage then. Peter Hansel setting the pace by over a minute from Kari Tiernen and Richard Sankt. Alfie Cox from South Africa, that great performance, 4th fastest. Alain Perez and Juan Roma 5th and 6th. And in the overall standings, Peter Hansel now has the lead by just under 2.5 minutes from Richard Sankt, with Kari Tiernen, Juan Roma, Alain Perez and Alfie Cox moving up into 6th place.